hello. Hello, hello. 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 Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Hello. What am I doing? No. Oh, hello. Hello, hello. One viewer. That's great. I like doing lives during the day because my roommates are not there. Oh, 4 viewers. Oh, great, great, great. I'm gonna do Q&A. All right. All right. Oh. To the Q&A. Okay. So. Can I move this? All right. So. There's a little poll that I put near the chat thing, asking people, you know, if there would be some generous people, you know, amongst you. You don't have to, but I have a donate link on the on my YouTube channel. So like it's in the description, the bio of my YouTube channel, and also in the community section. So there's a link, a donate link, and you have a couple options, 5, 10, 20, or whatever the amount you wish. You don't have to though. You don't have to. You really don't have to. I just decided to do that because I'm really broke, and I want to have enough money to buy equipment to be able to, you know, have much to be able to buy, like microphones, have better sound. Sound is very important, and get good cameras and lighting. Huh? Yeah. Because I want to make I want to start a podcast about boosting, and people can say whatever they want, but I used to live in Ottawa, and I'm not going to go into detail, but I was very, I was the booster. No, but I would so I would just work with one guy, and there's a big boosting there's a big boosting culture over there. So there's a bunch of people that walk in by foot and just run. I would sometimes get paid to drive people, and they'd say that they were boosting, and they would just do the wackiest shit. But I started a podcast, just not to encourage people to do that, because it's criminal. It's life of crime. But there's a way to do it where you can walk out, say hi to the staff, and be so slick that you can go to the same store the next day. Yeah. Until you get burned. But some stores it can last, it can go for long, very long. Yeah. And it's not something to brag about. I would sometimes, there's a big culture, when you're in the fucking drug scene, and stuff like that. That's what I used to, it was a bad time in my life. I had just split with my baby mama, the mother of my child, and then my dad died not long after, and so I was just fucking spiraling out of control, right? And I was never a criminal, never. I never did any crime before I was 27. Well, 2 months before I turned 27. It's the first crime I committed my whole life. I was turning 27 in 2 months. So I was 26 years old, and I was celebrating my birthday. Well, not celebrating it, but my birthday was 2 months later. So it was my first recorded offense. And so, people can say whatever they want, Sometimes you'll see people, they say that they do, you'd go to Ottawa, people would say, oh, I boost. But man, it was garbage. I mean, it was so trashy. Horrible. Running out of the store, man, fucking, and not out of a Gucci store, not even out of Nordstrom. People were running out. I would see people. They say that they were boosters, right? They would run out of a fucking Reebok store, a sports check. Running out with 2 bags was about maybe $300 worth of merch in each bag. $600, running for $600. I never ran for $600, man. No. I wouldn't even. $600, man. That's a bad boost, buddy. It's bad. But it's a shit life, man. So boosting is a shit life. So people that say that they're people that brag about it, they have a shit life, right? And so there's 2 options. If you don't have a car, you automatically suck on the person that has a car. But not only that, people that are wacky looking, I would tie my hair, wear nice clothes suit and tie, or I would have a normal attire, clean shaven. But most people, they're addicted to drugs, right? So they boost, so they look fucking, they look very wacky, right? And so these people, they don't have contacts. where they can just unload on one guy, the same guy all the time. And so it's not the same, you know. So like people that would talk about the fact that they were boosting is to kind of overcompensate. They were overcompensating for the, you know, what was the truth. And the truth was they were too wacky to have good context. So they would end up selling their shit like on the block, you know, for fucking nothing, you know. And so, but I don't, you know, just too bad. Like me, I was never like, it was never my plan, you know. It's just I just had to. Like I was living in the building. There was a roof on my apartment building. It was a very nice apartment building, and so I needed something to, and it was very good. I had a car, and so there was stores that I was really good at, you know. So, and I can say this one now because it doesn't exist in Canada anymore. So Nordstrom, there was a Nordstrom. When Nordstrom closed in Ottawa, I cried because it was so good. Like and I'm not joking. I could go there. So you have to have a good cadence. I could go there 3-4 times a day, 7 days in a row. And then what I would do is I wouldn't go for 4 days. And then I'd do the same thing. 2, 3 or 4 times a day, 7 days in a row. Very slick. That's a high end. This is not Simon's, man. It's like, and I would only get Montclair. Montclair. So I was known for that. I was a Montclair coat. Like I would get, you know, coats that were like 1900, 2000, you know. Actually, I remember the coat. It's kind of the Montclair. It's a long black Montclair coat. It's kind of the entry level Montclair for women, you know. And so if you go on their website, that Montclair coat, the regular price in Canadian dollars is $2,300, and at that Nordstrom, because it was closing in about maybe like 8-10 months, you know, I did that store about 10 months, almost a year. Those particular coats, they were like on the rack, they were on sale at $1,950 plus tax each coat. So I get a minimum of 2 coats every time we would go. 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Yeah. So that was like, I would like for like many months. I don't want to go into too much. I'm not gonna say any names, but I had like techniques, you know, techniques that will, even if that Nordstrom is closed, I will not reveal I will not reveal the you know, the whatever, you know, it's a secret. But I offloaded on one guy, you know, so I had, you know, I didn't have to try to sell my shit. So it was the same guy, and it was only him. It was, you know, it was my buddy, you know. It became my buddy, but I was introduced, and he was like the most, you know, normal person I could ever find to, you know, do organized crime. So. And he was really good at, you know, he was like, you know, he was a bright guy, you know. He was a guy that his income, 100% of his income came from, you know, illicit behavior. You know, 100% of his income was, you know, black market shit, you know, like fucking, you know, selling stolen goods and, you know, selling dope. But because he was selling merchandise online and there was a track record of what he was doing, you know, and, you know, they can never, you know, where do you get them? You know, I have a, you know, there's no like, whatever. And so he could actually deposit money in his bank account, and he would use a credit card, you know, to go about. And so that's why, you know, the smartest people that, you know, that are, you know, the smartest mobsters, or the smartest like wrongdoers, you know, the smartest people that live off of illegal activity, they don't get caught because there's a way, you know. So like in our relationship, me and the guy I was offloading my stuff, our relationship was I was taking the risk, but I was very good. So when we would meet, I wouldn't drag any attention to like the I wouldn't I wouldn't make any heads turn. It was normal, and you know, so that's the main thing. And there was never any conflict. And so it's not a good thing, right? You don't want to, you know, you want to have a legit job, but it was kind of a thing that I'll always remember, right? And so, you learn a lot about yourself and how much this world is fucked. You learn a lot, but no one should ever do that. It's terrible. I just have no choice. But that was just like a year, like a bit less, under 2 years. Like I did that for like maybe a little over a year and a half. Yeah. I was a waiter for like 11 plus years. That's what I used to really do. And wine steward, I was sommelier wine. Yeah, yeah. But I have a lot of respect for the person that I was introduced and ended up being kind of like my business partner in this organized ordeal of getting merch and bringing it to him. Uh, I became very close to that guy. He was like at the time he was my best friend, and he was in the. I was the, my family, my mental health was at like pure chaos. I wouldn't show it. I wouldn't let it show that much, but it was pure fucking chaos. And the fact that this guy was so, respectful and treat me like a friend, it was like a decorum with it all, It had a structure, I wasn't under the impression that I was talking to like a fucking lunatic, which made things like seem like this is the day to day for now, and we both knew it was temporary. Crime is always temporary. It's never eternal. It's temporary. Even if it's a long temporary, it's temporary. But I don't wish it upon my worst enemy because it's not good. Eventually, you slip through something, and because the more you do something illegal, the more you get used to it. The more you get used to it, even if you're very careful, eventually, that's the human nature. You'll eventually let something slide. You won't even notice. All right, cheers.